If you believe facial aging begins in the skin, this video will force you to look somewhere else. The skin only responds. The muscle is what leads. Before any wrinkle becomes fixed, before any line grows deeper, there is a muscle that has already spent years shaping the contours, compressing tissues, and altering the geometry of the face. The instant facelift most people seek in products is hidden within a muscle that has rarely received attention. Today, however, you will learn a 5-minute ancestral technique that dissolves years of compression. The human face is the most readable territory of the internal state. Stephen Porges' Polyvagal Theory describes how facial muscles, voice, breathing, and the eyes form the social engagement system. The set of signals the organism uses to communicate safety or threat before words are ever spoken. When this system is subjected to continuous pressure, the facial musculature learns to maintain a pattern of vigilance that eventually settles into a permanent posture. The masseter enters here as the densest muscle in this circuit. Responsible for chewing, it carries far more than the act of biting. Every cycle of sustained anxiety, every night of sleep spent clenching the teeth, every reaction that remained trapped before finding a voice, every restraint of presence passes through the masseter and settles into its fibers. Over time, what began as a temporary response becomes baseline tone. The tissue simply loses access to relaxation. This accumulated rigidity is directly related to what appears in the face. Research associates masseter thickness with stress markers such as cortisol. When the muscle remains chronically overloaded, the body sustains a state of alertness that becomes visible in the face, a squarer jaw, heavier contours, and a harder expression. If the connection between the jaw and the internal state we are exploring resonates with you, the Healing in Motion manual develops this axis in practical depth. It contains 22 somatic cycles for those who need continuity, for a body that knows how to move forward with fluidity. The link is in the first pinned comment. An overactive masseter produces a collection of effects that many people attribute only to the passing of time: the sensation of facial puffiness upon waking, a subtle asymmetry between the two sides of the face, a jawline that appears heavier than it once did, temple pain that emerges without an obvious cause, discomfort when opening the mouth fully, joint clicking, facial fatigue that begins before midday. Clinical sources, such as Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic, describe bruxism as clenching or grinding the teeth, often associated with stress, anxiety, and sleep quality. Symptoms include jaw pain, headaches, tooth wear, and restricted jaw opening. Research by Kaya and colleagues documented that psychological stress translates into measurable masseter thickness, verified through ultrasound imaging. Tissue carrying chronic tension increases in density. As that density grows, it alters the geometry of the face, pushing the mandibular angle downward and outward, reducing drainage in the region, and contributing to the appearance of a tired face that external skincare routines rarely address. This is what muscular aging produces before the first wrinkle ever appears. Hermetic traditions described the jaw as the lower gate of the word. The throat expresses. The jaw sustains or restrains what is still waiting to be spoken. The anger that remained in the bite instead of moving into the voice, the anguish chewed instead of passed through, the effort of maintaining a calm expression while the interior pressed outward. All of that force settles into the muscle that closes the mouth. In this sense, the face becomes a muscular parchment upon which autonomic biography writes its marks. Alchemists called coagulatio the process through which something meant to flow becomes solidified. An overloaded masseter is a living coagulatio. Energy that should move through the voice, expression, and presence hardens into facial rigidity. The ritual that follows is an act of solutio, returning flow to what has hardened. allowing what has been held as restraint to begin moving again. Now, let's move into the ancestral technique. Before beginning, find a place where you can sit upright or lie down comfortably. You will need only your own hands and a few minutes of directed attention. The ritual has 5 stages, and each one prepares the next. The first stage is the awareness test. Slowly open your mouth in front of a mirror, keeping your lips relaxed and the movement unhurried. Notice whether there is lateral deviation, pain, clicking, trembling, or asymmetry between the 2 sides of the opening. This test reveals the degree of tension present before any touch is applied. Close your mouth at the same pace. The second stage is locating the masseter. Place your fingertips along the side of your jaw in the region where the cheeks meet the bone. Gently clench your teeth, just enough to feel the muscle contract beneath your fingers. Immediately release the teeth and keep your fingers in place. This is the access point. The third stage is sustained pressure. With your fingers still resting on the muscle, apply firm pressure within a comfortable range. Breathe through your nose at a slow pace. Allow the jaw to become naturally heavier, as though gravity were gently drawing it downward. Maintain this for 3 complete breaths. The fourth stage is slow gliding. Keeping the same pressure, begin making small circular movements with your fingertips, gradually moving from the cheekbone down toward the mandibular angle. Move calmly and lightly. Repeat the path 2 or 3 times. The fifth stage is the breathing seal. Reposition your hands over your face, with your palms softly covering your cheeks. Let the tongue rest on the floor of the mouth, lips gently resting together. A small space between the teeth, the back of the neck long. Exhale through your nose more slowly than you inhaled. Remain in this state for 3 complete breathing cycles. When the 5 stages are complete, what emerges is what we call the instant facelift, a real and noticeable change that appears the moment muscular compression decreases. The face becomes less armored. The jaw loosens. The neck gains a little more freedom. The breath descends a few inches deeper. Presence feels less hardened. What you have perceived here is that blocking aging immediately means interrupting the bodily gesture that repeats aging every day. The unconscious contraction that pulls the jaw upward, compresses tissues, and keeps the face positioned in defense. When that compression softens, the nervous system receives a signal of safety, and the face responds with what it has always known how to do when tension allows it: reveal the lightness that remained hidden beneath the layers. The more frequently you practice, the more the nervous system learns that letting go is safe. The ancestral technique works because it interrupts the pattern at the point where it originates, the muscle that carried what the mind has already left behind. If this video reached you at a moment when your body needed to hear it, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive the next video. Now, write in the comments, "I release my jaw, and the instant facelift I find is my own face returning to itself." And if you would like to continue this process more deeply, the guide Healing in Motion is available in the first pinned comment. The next video also begins in the body, in what is still waiting for attention. The jaw that releases years of defense reveals what was hidden behind the compression, the version of the face that remained trapped inside the effort to appear untouched.